Dave and Mackie.
Hello and welcome to
Dave?
Hey, good one, huh? You know the name, and Mackie also. Shiny side out on WZZ, huh? Coming to you, yes, all the time from Australia for Revolution Radio on freedomslips.com and revolution.com. It is a home to fresh, unadulterated ideas and conversations in a chat room and a pleasure to get to you much. This number has a show number 561.
31.
I think. Yeah, 500. What Dave said. That one is a show number. You catch on air online on smart device. So Grab app. Grab app is a computer app, to listen anywhere you want to and listen at home, on a Gracer tabletop radio. Oh, if you miss a Solar show, it's okay, not too bad. You go archive and you watch there. Good. Also, come and check out all the archives. Why not? Before we are talking to you on the radio, we say many things. But before we say many things and talking, we also like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land. Dark and young, and Daruk, Dave, which one is yours?
Dark and young.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you very much. Arigato. Pay respects, elders, past, present, and the future.
Yes, Mackie's son.
Yeah. So I was going. I think I was going between Mongolian and North Korean for a little bit, then decided to settle on Japanese.
Japanese in the end. That's help.
What was that? What? Hey. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing the hand thing. Remember, what's that? The American movie with the marionettes. It was Trey Parker.
Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
Thunderbirds? That one?
Which one?
Thunderbirds?
No, it wasn't. But they used the marionettes from the movie The Thunderbirds because that got cancelled.
The recent one. Team America.
Team America, right?
Team
where
America.
the guy says, this is the signal, and he's doing his hands as the signal. Oh, look, he's doing the signal, but then they'd forgotten what the signal was, and they started shooting him.
By the way, before I forget, all my voice stylings are available for weddings, parties, and bar mitzvahs at very reasonable rates.
That should go down well. If you're available for voice acting roles as well.
Sure am, especially if you want to offend as many people as possible with one sentence. Just call me.
Robot Chicken. Let's not put it past Robot Chicken to have something as offensive as that.
True enough.
I don't think I've begun sweating so quickly in any other situation in my life.
I do what I can, eh?
Well, very successfully too. Then just saying. Boy, if that show doesn't get cancelled or by woke people, I'll be very surprised.
Well, you gotta really put it out there for them.
So
right?
Look, to be honest, Mackie, this is what being comedians is about. You've got to draw the line, but you don't know where the line is. So what you do, you dance on one side, dance on the other side. You offend people. You discover where the offensive part is, and then you come back a step, and then you've formed where the line is. And it's really easy. It's kind of like when you've got a coin underneath a piece of paper, and you use the pencil to backwards and forwards on it to trace it, but not tracing it vertically, tracing it horizontally. So you only get an imprint of what it looks like, a virtual imprint. That's kind of what comedy is.
Indeed.
Wow.
It is absolutely.
I feel alive, Mackie. I feel alive.
Living alive.
I feel alive. After that was good.
Just the shot the arm that you needed, right?
Yeah, that's what I needed. I've been recently doing iRacing again in a league, Australia versus US, which is really nice. But I'm telling people because when there's a gap in your life, when you're not feeling 100%, then find the thing that does make you truly happy, and do that, because I feel alive again, Mackie. Just telling you, right? And I really needed it in my life, and so racing motor vehicles is my thing, and I just get a full body buzz from it. It's just amazing. So
that's awesome. I mean,
it lights my brain up everywhere, I swear.
Oh, I bet it does. But look, everybody listening, Dave is actually really good at it, right? And he has put a lot of effort, and I think also, get some money into a rig at home so you can do the racing properly. So I think that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I'm sponsored. I'm a sponsored racing driver, and I've podiumed 9 seasons in a row.
I think that's honestly, I think that's fantastic.
But I had a big gap because my daughter's health, right? So I've not been doing it. I've been focusing on her, but I noticed that my own mental health was deteriorating, and I really needed it to do it again back in my life. And for all those years when I hadn't been racing at all, physically anywhere, I didn't realize that I missed it. So
of course.
So for all the people,
until you eat.
Yeah, exactly. So all of those people out there who, through all of these crazy pandemics and lockdowns and things, and all of the government regulations, and just keep your eye on the horizon for hyperinflation and food availability issues. Think about the things that have kept you going, and hope is useless. Actual hope is useless. Hope can get you through things, but it doesn't feed you. So action does, and I think that our bodies are made for action. They're made to do things, certainly suited to enabling us to farm and produce food, and for all the other purposes as well. I'm kind of just putting it out there. I want to generalize that experience that I've had in ways that can help people with their mental health, and kind of would like to prepare people for the future, because Mackie, there's experts all around the world, not me, experts all around the world talking about hyperinflation and food shortages, and there's grain issues coming out of the Ukraine, because now Russia controls the ports, and they're just basically saying, niet.
Niet, das not Schweinhund, niet.
Schweinhund. So that they spent some time in Germany.
Didn't they?
They did. Oh, yeah. And that holiday there when they were a kid, in school holidays, went to Germany, and you can't lose it. It's there. It's always going to be there. But yeah, that's so. But not only are the experts all around the world. Here's a segue and a half. You ready?
I'm ready, man. I'm catching it.
Yeah. And not only are they all around the world talking about the hyperinflation and food shortages, but monkeypox.
Monkeypox. Just when we thought life couldn't get any cuddlier.
Just when you thought it was safe to go outside.
Just when you thought, hey, I'm going to see people again. No. Monkeypox. What?
No, wir wollen bis doing this. Nein.
See,
my German's awesome.
Your German is fantastic. Question though,
so sexy, Nein zu sagen.
It's really hard to transmit disease. It really is. Like, it's not easily transmitted.
No.
So what they're fearing now, that this monkeypox is much more, transmissible.
Well, let's say it's heaps easy to get it.
Yeah.
Heaps easy.
So
that's an Australianism. Yeah.
Heaps, which means lots. But yeah,
lots easy, very big easy. But it can stay on the surface for ages, apparently.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's not sexually transmitted, though it could be. It isn't. Correct. And it's only because of the what do they call it? Spherules of pus that contains the virus. and that come in contact with that ick, the ooze, is enough for you to catch it.
But see, this is actually I was going to talk about this. So what's happened now is nobody talks about COVID anymore. Okay, fair enough, but it's all good. Now, just to be clear, in Australia, and this is specifically Australia, we've got one of the highest infection rates in the world.
We're in the top 6 now or something, aren't we?
Oh, easily. Yeah, absolutely. Top 6. I think at the moment, North Korea, that is the highest.
They're having all sorts of grief over there with it.
They're not having a good time. But Taiwan is up, the United States. But we're coming in 4th or 5th, I want to say here, right?
Yeah, I want to circle back to North Korea after this.
Yeah, yeah. So, but the point is, there's no more coverage in the news. And the funny thing is this, because we talk about this all the time, right?
Yeah.
And just
the top 4.
Yeah, no. Just recently, there was a report on the BBC, and that asked exactly that question. Why aren't we hearing any more reporting? And this was with reference to Australia specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't answer the question. What they did say is, how I don't know, the vaccines are here and all, but they didn't answer the question as to why the news cycle no longer pays any attention. That was interesting. So that was the question. That was actually the segment, half-hour segment. Why don't we hear about this anymore? No one answered the question. But look. But and plus, even if it was still in the news, this whole COVID thing is not as scary anymore. Like, a lot of us have had it, or know some people have had it. It's not great to get it, and some people pass away, of course, which is horrific. But the point is, it's not as scary. Yeah, I had the black pox, I had plague. I'm okay, right? Yeah, all that. We lived through it. So
bring out your dead.
Essentially. But monkeypox. Oh, that's a new one, right? And it's sort of evocative of I don't know if you've seen 12 Monkeys.
Oh yeah.
Willis. Monkeypox. 12 monkeys. That was a virus that killed the Earth, right? Yeah, that was a virus, but movie and all that. And yeah, it's just more. It's more. See, monkeypox has something. There's like a ring to it, right? Chickenpox. Just the smallpox. Small. Who's afraid of the smallpox? They're small. Give me the large pox, right? But this is monkeypox.
Yeah.
It's got the image of Africa, the jungle, unknown dangers. It's a whole. And these news agencies, they're going to get their mileage out of this. There's like 10 people or 12 people that are sick with monkeypox, okay? Or thereabouts. That's it. There's a handful of people in a handful of countries that are sick. Oh, but it's big news. I mean, you might as well report on the common cold. Oh, we had an outbreak of common cold in the UK. 12 people caught the common cold yesterday. Oh, no. So it is, but you see the puppet show here? It's just
but you know what? You don't want monkeypox because it's hideous.
No, I've seen the pox, but I look, but foot, mouth, and what's it called? Hoof, right? Foot, mouth, and foot, mouth, whatever it's called. Foot and mouth disease.
Yeah, that's right.
Friends of mine had it, and they caught it off their kid from daycare, and the blisters or the pustules were so bad they lost their nails. Right, so pushed out the fingernails, the toenails. So that's hideous as well. But we don't hear much about foot and mouth, do we?
No.
But it's there, man. It's still around. It happens. There was an outbreak in my child's daycare center of foot and mouth some weeks ago. I mean, lucky didn't go any further. But the point is, foot and mouth there. Monkeypox. It's very evocative. It has crisis written all over it, dude.
Oh, it's got the new crisis written all over it.
Yeah. Like, the news agencies are going to get a lot of mileage out of that. I can tell you that. They're going to sell a lot of advertising with this.
Aren't they? So 2 days ago, it was that it arrived in Australia already. There isn't any... There's no discussion at the moment about closing our borders or even establishing a quarantine system. Nothing. Belgium seems to be the first off the block as far as quarantining is concerned. They've already established a 2-week quarantine for incoming travellers. They don't want this. I've got a photo on the screen of some monkeypox, and you can see where 2 Band-Aids were crossed over that they've peeled off. It looks like a a female's hand. She has a tattoo, but these wounds are awful looking. Now, this kind of thing is evident, Mackie, in public. Should you have it? Could you imagine if the epidemic that the pandemic that we've just been through, if it was immediately apparent that the person had the virus, as in COVID? Could you imagine if it was immediately available, like you turned purple or something?
Oh, dude, yeah, absolutely.
Right. So I think we're playing with a new level of virus that they're talking up. It arrived here because of 2 Australians that have been overseas, and now it's kind of spreading, and we'll see more of it before we see less of it. Yeah.
Once it's in, man.
Well, yeah. But my point, and it's still my point, is why on earth, living on an island, which is really easy to isolate and have good quarantine, why do we just let it all happen? I mean, is it because government's so glacial they couldn't deal with anything so rapidly as to stop something?
Yes, I think that's part of the issue.
So if a government was racing a car around a track, it would just spear off at the first corner.
Yep. Oh, we didn't see it coming. Vroom, bang, crash.
Well, we'll meet and have a meeting about it next week, right? This corner that's coming. You're telling us about this corner?
We need a meeting to set up a committee that will, work out the lunch schedule for the meeting that we're actually going to have at some point.
Oh, we have to name the committee. That'll be the first item on the agenda.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it might take a couple of weeks to pass because we then, all what is it? All ideas of that officer need to be ratified at a bi-weekly meeting for purely internal affairs.
Oh, we don't have a king. I didn't vote for you. You don't vote for a king.
That entire segment is so valid, Mackie.
Oh,
I'll put $5 on. This becomes really bad really quick, and nothing will have been done about it until it is. Just like they wanted it to happen. Not saying they do, but just like they did.
Just as though they did, right?
Yeah.
Look, again, it's I mean, the disease in and of itself, from what I can see, it's not a terrible disease. It's similar to chickenpox in many ways, but,
and it's still about 1% fatality rate, which is round about the same as chickenpox.
Yeah, it's a similar kind of thing. It's still a kind of virus family, and in fact, apparently chickenpox does provide a 98%. If you have chickenpox, 89% protection against.
If you've had it.
No.
If you've had chickenpox.
If you had chickenpox vaccine, they say. Then because there's no specific vaccine, but if you had if you had a smallpox jab, it offers 85% protection against chicken and monkeypox.
Oh, that's cool. Is that the one that you get on your arm that you can tell?
Yes.
That has a big cancerous hole in your arm.
I've got that.
Yeah, me too. International travelers.
Yeah. So in Germany it was every child had to get it.
Really?
Every child gets it.
Well, we didn't have it until we had to go overseas.
No. In Germany, I had my what's the Dr. Salks? What's the first big vaccine program? What was the disease? I can't think of it now, but it leaves you crippled.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's in my head somewhere.
We had to get all the other vaccinations as well. I had smallpox when I was very, very small. No pun intended. But yeah, it's look.
All the girls got rubella.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, 100%.
And I can't remember now. Not the palsy, the other one. It destroys your joints. For the life of me, I can't remember.
Yeah, that's what the long COVID does to you.
Yeah, that's a COVID. That's what it is.
I had the COVID. I can't remember. Did I call it COVID?
Yeah,
I
COVID.
didn't win a lot of COVID.
COVID. You did.
That's
So
my
you
car's
didn't
got a
win.
flat
You didn't
tire.
win the 80 million.
I did not. So I cannot adopt a street, which I would have. I would have done that. I would have adopted
Yeah, I
the
would have.
street.
Yeah, I think
100%.
it's still in the cards. Should we get there?
Oh, if ever there were a large jackpot that was won by me, absolutely I would do it. 100%. No doubt. I mean, whatever the crisis at that particular time is, I'm sure there are many more crises looming on the horizon. We're not quite there yet. But it certainly is interesting to see how the news shift and morph. And to everybody's entertainment, we had an election as well. Believe it or not, in Australia, we have I guess lost our conservative liberal government, which is interesting to say conservative liberal. The two don't really go together in one sentence. And it's been replaced by a Labour government, it seems. I don't know what the exact numbers are.
71 seats. They need 76.
So we don't have a majority. But what I did see is a lot of independents went through.
Oh yes, absolutely. This has been the largest number of independents in Australian history.
Which is awesome, because that means that people have been listening to our radio show, because clearly the only thing that convinced people to do it was us.
You know, Mackie, right? That was one of the things that you stated, and you've stated, and I told my friends at a party last night. We had like a Don's party, election party. That's an Australian movie. And then I said that you have been saying, and I agree, but I didn't claim to own it, and that is that we need more independent, we need a more balanced outcome. So there's actual politics that occurs, rather than just this rampant, let's call it, for want of a better word, bulldozering of see, that's funny, of an idea to an outcome because you have a majority. That's easy. That's not politics. That's just you dust off all of the plans you've ever had, and you just throw them out there and you make them happen. You don't have to negotiate with anybody. And I think that the council style approach to politics is so much better where everyone is represented. Because at the moment, what representation? It's not the community. See, the Greens got some seats in the Senate from Queensland, which is really good.
Yes.
And everyone has. I'll say what all the parties that weren't the one that just lost. All the other parties are saying, well, it's a clear message from the people that we need to act on climate change, because the climate change rated the highest on everybody's need. Yeah. Except, of course, the losing party who had assured us that they were going to do everything about it for the last 10 years and
promptly did nothing.
Well, that's right, because their biggest sponsors were big coal and farming and producers. And how can you do that? Oh, you have to delete them from the numbers.
Yes, that's what happens.
Yeah, right.
It's actually quite funny if you think about it. But I think what we saw in this election as well, interestingly enough. Look, again,
what's that?
I don't know what is all about board. I don't know. I have no idea. And I know the postal votes haven't been counted yet, etc.
That's right.
There's a whole bunch of stuff.
I said that in the chat room already. Yeah.
So, yeah, and I did go to vote in my local here, my girls' school. I had my democracy sausage.
Me too.
But what is clear? So this was very much a rejection of Scott Morrison. Yes, the policies were rejected, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a clear rejection of the man himself. And I'll be honest with you, he hasn't filled me with buckets of confidence when he was in the seat. All the things he said, did, flip-flopped on, got wrong, and it was just embarrassing. And maybe hopefully, actually no. The screaming Joe Biden probably can't remember Mr. Albanese's name either, but that's Biden's problem.
That's funny.
Not ours.
He doesn't know which way to get off the stage anymore.
No, he's like, oh, am I done? Where's my porridge?
I remember when he was just calling out for mother.
Oh, sorry.
Honest, that happened.
300 million. 300 million.
And he's
Americans,
the best
guys.
one.
300. Look, we're not doing much better. We only have a base population of 27 million, though, and our voting. I think our voting numbers are 21 million thereabouts, right?
That's right.
So we're nowhere near your population base, but you got 300 million people, right? And a lot of smart people out of that, right? You're stuck with Joe Biden. No offense to anyone, but
No.
how does that happen? How does that happen? It's just nuts.
Hey, look, it's sad. It's a sad place, Mackie, that this is how our representative government is, how the cookie crumbles, I suppose. It's so sad.
I think the cookie has crumbled, and there ain't no putting the cookie back together again. The cookie is crumbled.
Yes.
We're done with the cookie.
Well, you know, the losing party in Australia always does a quick piece to camera. And what's odd about Australia is that we persist and have a representative from the two major parties on air during the counting of the election. And they have to sit there as their party's losing, still handling questions.
I know.
And I feel sorry for it doesn't matter who it is, and I really feel sorry for them, because that's got to be the pits.
Right.
Yeah. So what do you attribute these losses to?
The other guy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You could easily dismiss it all as saying, "Look, I think they ran a better election," and they're going to cut away from you because you're not giving them anything good.
No, absolutely, 100%.
At least
newsworthy.
At least a 10-minute spiel.
A rant. Give us a rant.
No, but that's the last night. That's what I was watching. At least a 10-minute spiel of how they needed to change their messaging. Really? It wasn't about the policies at all. No, I know the policies. The policies are solid. It was about the messaging.
We don't need substance. We need appearance.
That's what I was laughing about.
Right. Oh my goodness.
And then they said, the voting base has changed in the last 10 years since they've been in power. And he said women are more educated today than they were 10 years ago, and it's because of us that they're more educated. And that's good. That's a good claim. You can claim that. I'll give it to you. But we need more representatives, women in Parliament. Well, that's on you, right? That's fine. And climate change. We did all these things on climate change. No, you didn't. You said a lot of things, but there wasn't much doing, right? And that's the whole messaging thing. We need to change the messaging. And I went, wow, if that's what you believe is your downfall, not one because they're so aligned to the party, and it would be the end of your career if you said, well, didn't we choose the wrong leader? Yeah, that would have been funny. I reckon that would have been the last time that he drove a car home safely.
You want to drive to you? Yeah, you started up.
No, you started.
But you make a good point, though. See, these days, this is my problem with democracy at the moment, right? This is not about substance or policies or bringing change to the world. This is about maintaining the status quo for the most part. Yeah. And so all of we said this many times before. All of our institutions, the police, the court system, the legal system, even all bureaucracies somehow related to any kinds of services for people, keeping the roads going. And this is a really good example, I guess, a good analogy. It's about maintenance. It's all about maintenance. Nobody is looking to fundamentally change or, God forbid, improve our situation, our respective situations, right? There's a lot of talk, right, all the time, yeah, blah, blah. But nobody actually does anything, and that's the way they want it. Perfect. In fact, we don't want change. We want for things to stay exactly as they are, right? And this is what this election, I guess, made it a little bit harder. A good friend of mine from work, he lives in a very safe liberal seat. It's been his liberal seat since 1902. 1902, the second year of federation. it became a liberal seat, right? It has stayed liberal for 121 years. And he said, "Ooh, even we are now under pressure here. There's some serious contention around, getting challengers up against us." And you go, okay, right. 121 years, and like to your point, Dave, people are waking up. Right? You know, oh, hang on, this is not right. And women can vote now.
Really, can they?
Yeah, it's a thing, right?
And they're smart now. Goodness.
They're smart now. Yeah, only now.
Yeah, now.
Not before. Only now. Which is really quite interesting if you look at just the argument there for a second, right? So
wearing his wife beater.
Wearing his wife beater. But it's a sign of the times, and a lot of young people are disillusioned because they are worried. I mean, I don't know if you saw that there was a tornado in Germany. Yeah. A tornado.
They had them in China too. Crazy.
There are no tornadoes in Germany. It's just
there weren't.
There weren't any mud floods either. That clearly has changed. So we are seeing things rapidly moving in all the wrong directions, and populations shifting. And look, the one big crisis that's looming. Forget food shortages in the Ukraine and all that. I mean, yes, there are. The Ukraine delivers a lot of wheat, okay, to a lot of countries. It's about 10, 12 countries which are really dependent. Turkey, Indonesia, a few countries of like that, of that nature, right? But not. It won't be a global crisis, though. Okay, there's not going to be this global food shortage where you go, it's not that. I don't think it is. There'll be a knock-on effect. There might be some things happening, but to really to seriously say that people are now going to have famine experience, drastic food shortages, etc. I think that's just hyperbole. I think that's complete nonsense. And I just don't see it, Dave. It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah, I completely get it. I get it.
Yeah. But hey, anyway.
But it's a brave new world now, Mickey.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
In every sense of the word.
That's right.
Especially in the sense of the novel, right?
That's right.
If you're familiar with the novel, it's quite something. But,
so
go on, yeah.
Yeah. Well, people are made or designated tasks based on their, I suppose their biological makeup is probably a politically correct way of saying it.
Yeah.
A determination is made. Now, well, look, we had that to a certain extent in each of our schools, where you had what was that? What was the officer called who determined, who gave you, your best assigned job?
Career advisor.
Career advisor. Thank you. So we had career advisors at school who basically gave you the real information that you should have probably always known. That I want to be an astronaut. It's not going to happen, kid. Look, you're probably best off being a plumber. All right? Oh, okay. And you trot off happy that now you're going to be a plumber. It's like, I don't know, it's this stupid thing because I had girls, so we watched My Little Pony. They get their cutie mark, which determines what they're going to do. It's a very similar thing. Our kids are being inducted into this. They watch these shows. You're going to be oh, am I? Yes. Yeah. Right. So, yeah.
I don't want to. Wrong answer.
Well, that's, it's kind of what you're destined for. So, yeah, but my parents always said I could be anything I wanted. Well, you know what? They're wrong. You just can't. It's like you go to a certain university. It's got point at the end. You go there, and you can become an officer in the military. You can't work up to officer from a grunt. Think about that.
There's a ceiling. And most of these things are artificial ceilings, but they're ceiling. They're real enough. once you hit them. Women experience the ceiling. If you've got the wrong education, there's a ceiling. In fact, my uncle in Germany, he worked for the post office, or for the and he didn't finish his higher school education, like, which means he didn't go to year 13, got his Abitur, which is similar to an HSC. He finished in year 10, right? He got a leave certificate, and he was really good. He was doing really well, but he couldn't progress past a certain salary level because of his lack of formal education. So he went back to night school, did his higher school certificate, and then did his university course, and then entered what was called the gehobene Laufbahn, or the higher career possibilities. So the ceiling exists. It's, from the start. Oh no, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, and because the thing is, in society we need a certain number of people. If everybody was a doctor, we wouldn't need any bread. There'd be no bread. There'd be no potatoes. If everybody was a doctor, if everybody was an engineer, we'd all be dead of smallpox within a week. Right?
That's right.
So you see the issue that we're having here. We cannot have everybody be or do the same thing. And even if we all could, meaning we all had the smarts and the means to study these things if we wanted to, right? Society just wouldn't work that way. So how do they do it, Dave? Right? How do they make sure that people are not doing this? So, and what they're doing is this: they have stratified the educational system into public, private, others, some are denominational, meaning they're church-run, and they all offer varying degrees of quality of education. Plus, chances are that you want to meet rich people. If you're rich yourself and you send your child to private school, chances are that all their friends come from rich families, and which of course gives them great context for the future. So even at an early age like that, we are stratifying society. Okay? So because we are stratifying society at this early age, we can be assured that a very large percentage of the people that we need to go into whatever job we need them to go to will go there. Simply because we have rigged the beginning of the game. Really elegant, Dave, if you think about it. It's really, really elegant design. And then we put more things in between, more stopgags, more ceilings, more requirements, and on it goes, ensuring that our society keeps running as it does, not changing much, not improving much, making sure that those that are on top stay on top, and those that are not on top, well, who cares about them, right? Pretty much. But that's where we are, and it's a really clever way of designing a society, because we all think, oh, we're doing really well. Dave, I mean, look at us! Wow, I'm doing good. You doing good, Dave? Are you doing good? You must be doing good, right?
Sure.
You're all doing so well. Well, look, a lot of us, certainly the ones that can afford to spare a couple hours on a Sunday or Saturday night, have the technological equipment to listen to the show. We're probably doing okay. Okay. Probably a lot of people that aren't doing okay, but because we're doing okay, then we're thinking, oh yeah, we're doing okay. Well, you're not doing okay because you're not living the life that you're meant to live. Yeah. It is complete insanity to think that the life that we live is normal in any way.
If this is meant to be it, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, think about it, Dave. I mean, look, I started work, full-time work, I should say, when I was, I think, 20 or 21, full-time work. Now, you could argue that I actually worked more than full-time during my studies because I was working at a large retail store, working weekends, working after hours, etc. Right? But the point is that I've worked now for 30 years. Good 30 years, right? Solid. Including, for a large number of those years, a weekend work, which means I worked 7 days a week. And I'm young, strong, can do that. But looking back on it, was it really the best use of my time? Did I really make the most of my time in just working? And I'll be honest with you, in hindsight, I don't think so. I don't think I lived the life that I was necessarily meant to live. I mean, some people do, and they're lucky, and that's good, right? I'm happy for them. But the vast majority, we just, I don't know, we live from paycheck to paycheck, but not only that, we also tend to be less, adventurous, I guess is the word, with our career choices. Right? We're not pushing the envelope. We choose the safe route. And we get stuck to some extent in certain things as well, which, again, you're saying that's all of you. I'm just saying it's could be some of you. But it's all designed to make sure that the world stays as it is.
Mm-hmm.
No, nobody wants a revolution. No one wants an evolution. Okay? And if it is an evolution, it's an evolution that we want to control. Thank you very much, say the parasites. I mean, how do you feel about that, Dave? When you look at your life, what do you think?
What do I think? I said, my mortgage is tremendously large. There's things I've been taught that I want, not that I need, that I want, and I want them. So I need to get them. And the only way to do that is juggle all the leeches that suck all your wages away from you. Juggle those to be able to save money to buy the thing that I really want.
Yeah.
Now, that isn't the life that I thought I'd have. Do you remember the ease at which it was all discussed with us when we were kids?
Oh, yeah.
And that doesn't exist. It's not the thing that ever was there. It was fictitious. 2.3 children, white picket fence, quarter acre block, and you'd have a career in something, and all that kind of vanished because, well, careers are bad apparently, and there isn't any longevity in a role, and people have to jump companies to earn more money because the companies never pay any more, because that's the agreement. The agreements never became a lifelong entity. They're only ever short term. They became short term. All these really strange things, Mackie, that were all total lies. Talk to us in one way, but I think it evolved from truth to lies in the last 50 years.
Because I think you're right. I think there was a truth to it back in the day, like when you could own a house, right? You have the capacity to own a house, and
on a single wage.
Yeah, on a single wage, and have the capacity to pay it off in your lifetime, right? That I think is gone almost entirely, right? Because these days, I'm talking about Sydney. I'm sure other major cities in the world are the same, but in Australia and specifically Sydney, it is almost impossible for a young couple to get into the housing market. So we're turning into a world of renters.
Yeah,
we're going to be rent like in Europe. I mean, in Europe, a lot of people are renters. I mean, we rented. I mean, I lived there for 20 years, and we rented all my life, right? So you don't know the difference. But here in Australia, people had, like Dave said, always had the dream of owning a home, and it's a great dream to have. And it's everybody, is it a right? Well, it should be if it isn't. I'm sure it isn't, but it's certainly something we need to be more cognizant of, because it is beautiful to have a home to come to and call it yours, but because of the cost associated with that, it's become impossible. In fact, I think it takes 10 years to save a deposit for the average person these days. 10 years to save a deposit. That's a long time to save a deposit, right? And people are simply kept out of the market, and then unless you have two jobs, or a really well-paying job, you can't afford a home. And that's always been a thing in Australia. And I can see the change in landscape. Dave, as we drive through Sydney, what I see is I see all these one-family homes knocked down, like a lot of them, and either replaced with duplex, so where once there was one home, there are now two, or apartment buildings. And not just small apartment buildings, but we've got 20, 30-story apartment buildings going up all over Sydney, right? Increasing population density, making our population management more efficient. Isn't that great? Isn't that great?
But you know what? I like the cookie crumbles. Well, so do the low-rise apartment buildings crumble.
Yes. Yes. You're right.
Because of the auditing of the technical and building codes were third party approved by the company that paid for it, also ran the company that approved it. And so there are buildings today that at least two that I'm aware of. One of them was my friend lived next door. That was one in
Okay.
Mascot. And we have the one that's in Homebush where people can't live there.
I mean, isn't it? I mean, that's just. It's actually shocking. I think it's.
It shouldn't
horrific.
happen.
No. It absolutely shouldn't happen. But
that's a crooked building industry, or a loopholes within a building industry that was formerly solid, where they could approve their own work without a third party. But what they did, they established a third party for themselves and then all ran it through that. So that it was automatically okay. And then the people don't have the right to sue them for the value of the loss.
I mean,
and this is wrong.
If that's not a travesty, I honestly don't know what is. I don't know the definition of travesty anymore at that point.
The reason why I call it out is because from an individual's perspective, the house is the largest thing they'll ever purchase.
Yes.
That's the most money they'll ever spend on anything. And to get ripped off or, disappointed through structural failure, where that could have been avoided, I think that is the absolute pits of corruption.
100%.
For that to be allowed. So that's why the only reason I bring it up is because, look, I was the architect of my own house and I had a structural engineer confirm everything. And so far, so good, solid as a rock. Touch wood.
Nice.
And look, when you don't have control over it and you're buying off a plan, you've got a 1,000,000% trust that that's going to be good for the rest of your life and be able to hand it down to your kids. When you look around, there's buildings that have existed for much longer than your lifespan. And they're still there. So I have to implicitly trust them.
Yeah, but that trust is clearly eroding. Right?
It's gone. That's right.
It is a shit.
It's like taxing multinational tech companies. Shush.
Who said that?
What?
Was that Dave's voice?
I think that was a cross line.
Yeah.
I love the leader, Mackie. Just saying.
I love the leader. So it's like, yeah, but it's not, and this is really, what bothers me. This is why stations like this exist, because of this discontent and this anger that we all feel, right? There's a really interesting meme I came across. Oh, it's actually more than a meme in my mind, but I thought it was beautiful. You can't truly call yourself peaceful unless you're capable of great violence. If you're not capable of great violence, you're not peaceful. You're harmless, and it's a very important distinction. And this is true. Like, a lot of people are in fact peaceful, and few people are harmless as well. But I think there are a lot of people that choose to be peaceful, and I hope they keep choosing to be peaceful going forward, right? Because living conditions for the majority of us are going to get worse. They just will. I can tell you this now. In the second hour of the show, we'll talk about prophecy, and we've expanded it significantly to include some more interesting. In prophecy, now we include also some futurists, and also some things that have come true over time. And then, we can look at what has been predicted for our collective futures, both from a scientific point of view, but also from a mystical point of view. We've seen some of these things as well. But Dave, I don't know how you. Do you think we're seeing the end of history? Do you think we're seeing the end of the way we all live and come up with something better?
Oh, look, that's a really good question, because I'd been hoping that we'd had already come up with a better way of doing things and a better way of living. And if there hadn't been pesky wars that have gotten in the way of everything, I think we'd still be living in a time similar to, quite possibly to last greater than 50 years. The time we'd be experiencing now, technically wise, would be far in the past, because war innovates and technology is born about war. So without the wars, I kind of think we'd be back in the past quite a ways. But today, I'd say that looking about what we have from the technical point of view, I think we're in a position to almost be at a point where people don't need to work anymore, and therefore that's the time when life changes. Then I don't want to sound crazy, but the train at the station. The World Economic Forum's Great Reset was designed purely around automation preventing humans from working. The need for the quantity of people we have on the planet to actually have an employment would diminish so significantly that they'd have to pay everyone a wage just to stay alive. And this was determined and pre-written and worked out, and all the complexities around that were devised in such a way that we could keep going, and only the thing that would kill us would be the birth rate, because if we don't need all these people, then why are we giving them all the money? And why are they still replicating on us, Mackie? So from the parasites' point of view, this would be to their detriment, to allow us to continue to replicate. So would it be a better world? I don't know. As long as their gap for them, as long as the gap between us and them is significant enough for them to still be wealthy and do all the things they do and travel on their big boats, Mickey, which we could never acquire, ever.
Yes, yeah, no.
If we were kept on a wage of their determination. See how that changes?
Yeah.
It's like the aristocracy, Mickey, in England with the, whose castle is this? There's some lovely filth over here. Old woman, man, I'm hardly old. I'm 37. I couldn't just call you man, but he could call me Dennis. I didn't know your name was Dennis. You didn't ask.
You didn't,
right?
You didn't ask.
So, who are you then? I'm your king. Who elected you? You don't elect a king.
I didn't vote for you.
That's right, I didn't vote for you. You Anyway, so aquatic ceremonies, handing out swords. So the whole premise of that time in history is almost upon us again, yes, by their own design. In the stakeholder economy, where the stakeholders are just big tech and extremely wealthy people, they've already designed this.
Yeah.
Our new way of living. It's only a matter of time. Hopefully we get there. I mean, hopefully, for the majority of people, because a lot of lives, Mickey, it would be a step up.
Well,
freedom?
That is true.
Freedom, no. Freedom gets locked up.
But you will eat.
At least you'll eat, and there'll be technology, because without the tech, they don't exist.
Yeah, but see, this is the question I have, right? Will you live, or will you just exist? And this is really, for me, this is a big, like, I'm not saying you have to run, wild in the streets and, and then graffiti everything and urinate where you like. That's not freedom. But are you allowed to think the things that you want to think? Are you allowed to think about, bettering society, or even, because I think our financial and monetary system, it's all wrong, completely wrong, right? And there's the music. But would you be allowed to try to change it at any point? Right now it's hard to do so. We're not really allowed to change it. That's called anarchy and terrorism, right? But I think it has to change.
And on that bombshell, stealing it from Jeremy Clarkson. Look, we're going to see you after a very short break. Stay tuned. This is still David Mackey's Shiny Side Out.